This is, if you guys remember the thing I sent out to you, the email. Those of you who had answered some of the survey, we started a new program, and particularly for young people. And the reason we did it is because a lot of people just didn't know where or how to implement some of these things, not just with stocks, but in general. I'm going to share with you some of my experiences over the last couple of years and some of the money that we've made. And we're going to try to do here is we're going to go on a little bit of a journey. Now, Brian, don't you say it's a symmetrical triangle. All right. So we're going to go where we want to go for a gold. This is going to be a time frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would you all agree that you're probably a little smarter now than you were when you were 15, other than him? Huh? Would we agree with that? Life is experiences, correct? Do you think you have a better chance hanging with multimillionaires or people in poverty? I'm serious. Huh? Exactly. That's what we call a mastermind group. You want to hang with these people. As life goes on with different experiences, you gain those experiences and you hopefully pass along to your family, to your kids. So my grandmother used to say, it's smart to learn from your mistakes, smarter to learn by somebody else's. Okay? So I want to show you here a couple of things. Everything, including this class, it all starts with an idea. This class came from my dad. It wasn't my idea. He said, take this and share it with other people. That's how this got started. This wealth enthusiast came from you guys. People had asked me, they said, Rick, I want to be where you are. How do I get there? This is how we're going to do it. We're going to start from zero, and I'm talking zero money, and take you through a process of journey of how do I get to multiples millions? How do I become a multimillionaire in a short period of time? This is what I'm going to take you step by step. Everybody with me? Okay. This is going to be a general overview and an outline of where we're going with this. Those of you that have kids, I really want you involved with this as kids. Even you guys, I know you got a young baby, but start from here and take them from there, okay? A lot of people always tell me, they said, Rick, you're the luckiest guy I've ever met. Everything you seem to touch, it turns to minus. Well, what ends up happening is this preparation is met with opportunity. Some of you know I'm a pilot. You know, there was an opportunity, the fastest million I've ever made was in 72 days. And it wasn't in the stock market, it was in the real estate market. It was because of some airplane hangars we built right in the airport, right next door. My goal is still to make $1 million before 72 days in the market. I just haven't done it yet, but it's on my little commitment card, okay? But the point is there's, just like I was saying about the options with the house where we sold the contract, there's opportunities, guys, everywhere. People talk about this economy sucks. It only sucks if you don't know the answers. Remember Austin in the test? When he studied for it, he had to know, okay, here's how the answers are to the test, how it's going to come out. These are some traits of the successful people. We talked about think and grow rich. One of the things that he understood that wealthy people were not born with a spoon in their mouth, silver spoon. They learn these traits. These traits are specialized knowledge. Some of you may have heard us talk this before. Having a burning desire. Discipline. Has anybody talked to you guys about discipline today? Huh? All right. Decisive in nature. They typically, multimillionaires make your mind up quickly and change it slowly. These are the characteristics that are learned. You're not born with these. Other than keeping my foot out of the lawnmower, I've never really made quick decisions. It was a learned process, okay? And last but not least, you want to take action. This is a mastermind group. If you look on here, you've got Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, President Harding, and Harry Firestone. You ever heard of those guys? They used to hang together. What do you think the opportunity was for each of those? If you're hanging with the President of the United States, do you think a possibility you may know what's going on? Huh? How about if you're over here with Firestone building tires and you just happen to know the guy that has the #1 car company, and they use those little things called tires? What do you think the opportunity would be there for him? Huh? Okay. Write this down. Anybody, whether you have a financial planner, like I said, I've got chiropractors in here, I've got lawyers, I don't care who you are, this applies to you across the way. I told you earlier, the fastest million I ever made was in 72 days. It was 1.6 million. Here's how I did it. It was off of retaining marketing rights. What does that mean? When you sell your business, whether it's a chiropractor or financial or whoever, when you write that contract, you retain the marketing rights to that database. When I sold my practice, I sold it with the intention of I get to keep the rights to all of those people. I treated over 10,000 people. I had a huge database to start with. A lot of those people were pilots. I'm a pilot. Do you think I hang with pilots? Exactly. We sold all 60 of those hangars before we ever put a shovel in the ground. They were sold. How did I do that? Because I had that database to start with. Everyone in here is sitting on multiples of millions of dollars. I know just about every one of you, and I know what your businesses are. So how did I learn this? Was this some brilliant idea I came up with? No. I had a lawyer by the name of Sherwin Simmons, who recently passed away last year. But Sherwin said, well, Rick, if you're going to sell your practice, he was a patient of mine. He says, come on down to my office and let me show you what we have to do to go through a business contract. I had no idea what the guy was talking about. I went down there. I'm going up the Barnett Bank building, it was then, and I know, let me tell you, you're in trouble when you're going up high rises and on the name, and it goes from the 16th floor to the 44th floor, and it's the same guy, that you're in trouble, okay, financially. I mean, I'm telling you, it's going to cost you. So now I'm thinking, I don't even want to get off the elevator with this guy because, I mean, I'm charging $20 an adjustment. I know this is going to cost me more than $20. Actually, it made me over $1 million sitting here talking with him. He's the one that told me, he said, Rick, let's go through the checklist. You ever heard of a checklist? He says, let's go through your business. And we went through, and he says, okay, you're a chiropractor. He says, but what other things do you have to do in the future? I go, I don't know. And he goes, well, who keeps the marketing rights to your practice? Oh, well, I don't know what marketing rights are. And he says, well, let me tell you. And he explained a story similar to what I'm doing to you. In turn, we sold the practice for no less money than what we originally negotiated on, but I got to keep what? The marketing rights. In turn, I was able to go to that database, go to my friends inside the database who are also my patients, and in turn, sell them those hangars. $8 million project, sold 72 days, less than 90 days. Do you see the power of that? Had I not had that mastermind group, I never would have known that. So what I'm telling you to walk away today is make sure one of the things that we're going to talk about is how do you maximize the business that you have? How do I grow? I don't want the more headaches. I don't want more problems. I want less. I want more time. How do we go through that? And one of the answers is with a mastermind group. This is how we do it. SMART goals, this is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You've got to have a goal set. I want you to write now, if this is applicable, take a pencil and paper and write down and make this applicable. If you want to lose a few pounds, which I do, okay, write down what is it you want to lose. When am I going to lose it by? I'm working X amount of days a week. You've heard Bob and some of the other guys in here talk about that they're down to 3 days a week. You heard Craig talk up here earlier. It says, I want to transition out of my practice to trading full-time so he can travel. He has specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound goals. Does everybody understand that? This is what I was talking to you before about being specific. What about my Roth? How many, now let's be honest, how many people have I mentioned to you about getting a Roth, but really you haven't gotten your Roth yet? Okay, be fair, okay? That's honest. I appreciate the honesty. But if you have a mastermind group, people that are there to remind you that, George, did you get this done? Sam, Susie, here's what the things you have to follow through. That is the purpose of doing it. You've heard the mastermind group in the day trading. They talk about that they help each other inside the day trading group. That's why they're there. That's why they succeed. You heard that Daras is brand new to day trading, but yet we've taken him under our wing. We're going to help him to succeed. Do you see how this works? Okay. I've sold my business. I want to sell it for X amount. I booked a vacation. Where do I want to go? We usually go to Europe 2 or 3 times a year. Now, we haven't last year, but we will this year. Why? Because that's on our goals of things that we want to do. You want to own a house in France? Go buy a house in France. Whatever it is that you want to do, but it's got to be specific. One of the things, I wish Austin was here to tell you, when I started this, I didn't want to miss any of his games. I probably missed maybe 4 or 5 in the 20, well, he's 18 years old, in probably 15 years. He's been playing since he's 3 or 4 years old. That was a goal I had, okay? So keep your marketing rights. We talked about that. Wealth boils down to 2 things. It's specialized knowledge, and in what field are you in? I showed you guys this before. This is a little small for you to see, but this sits on my desk. My mom made this specifically to show how much money I made, whose yard I cut, etc. This is back in 1970. It's a little small for you to see. But I was cutting yards back then for $2 and $3 a piece. Did I need specialized knowledge with a lawnmower? You really did. I had to make sure I didn't put my foot underneath it, you know, how to work the throttle. I mean, it wasn't a lot of specialized knowledge, but it still was. Then I became an air traffic controller. Do you think maybe some specialized knowledge would help you out? Huh? You know, when I was in the Air Force, I learned to be an air traffic controller, and it used to really make me mad because I was making the same amount of money as a cook separating eggs, and I had to separate airplanes with lives on them. You know, and I was like, well, dude, man, if I scrambled a couple of airplanes together, I go to jail. This dude scrambles a couple of eggs, oh, well, start over, you know. So sometimes there's not exactly equity there. But again, with specialized knowledge. Then I went to school to play doctor, same thing. Each time with the specialized knowledge, as it grew, my income went up. We talked about the airplane company I'll show you here in a minute that we ended up with, was very successful with. And then the same thing with the stock stuff, with the stock. It all boils down to the specialized knowledge and having that burning desire. This is something I did back in about 1985. See that good-looking guy right there? This was the staff from my office. This was when computers were first coming out. They were the size of trucks. And people didn't really understand, how do I make them work? I now have Steve because of what I learned in my own class. No. Is basically you listen. There's 2 points of view. We talked about that marketing from those people that are with you in your group. Okay, what you want to do first is basically you have to survey and find out, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. That's how I found out that it was this. When I started these, after my dad's suggestion, some of you may have gotten a survey from me and said, is this something you guys really want to do? I know some of you guys have been with me for a while, but when I started these classes, they were $195. Now, how many of you, from what you've learned today, think this would be worth $195? Absolutely. But as time marched on, it was really my students that said, Rick, this is too darn cheap. Here's where I think you need to be. They were the ones that said this is where it should be. Okay, second thing we did, who's this good-looking guy over here? We did panels of these people. This guy was the advisor to President Reagan. This was the Florida Insurance Commissioner. And what we did was put things together to answer questions for people. This right here made us over $2 million. And I didn't know a thing about insurance or what the laws were. How did I find that out? How did I know that there was a market for that? We asked, we surveyed. This is my airplane that we had. I had an airplane company. It was the same way. This company, when I took it over, was in the red. I turned it around to black and it sold over $3 million. How did I know to do that? Was I surveyed the customers and said, what is it you want? What are you looking for? This is what came out of it. This is, remember I told you about the hangars over in St. Pete? Remember that I told you a minute ago? Because I built the hangars, let me show you what other opportunities come. If you go to the St. Pete, anybody fly into St. Pete Clearwater Airport over here? You did. You know where it is, right? Or did you fly into St. Pete? You? Okay, did you see this airplane over there? Yes. Okay, I built that airplane. City of St. Pete paid me $100,000 to do that. I hired other people to do it. But if you go over there, you'll see, did you see that hanging up there? We did that. If you look on the thing at the bottom, you'll see my name from having that built, okay? Why did they do that? Guess who I used to hang with? The airport president from building the hangars. So the fact that he knew we did a good job with the hangars, what did he do? He came to us and said, I need this built. Can you get it done? I said, how much money is involved? He told me, and I said, yeah, oh, yeah. I'm thinking that could be arranged, you know. So we ended up hiring, and this is how we got the boat done. But do you notice a pattern here? Oh, listen, guys, there are multiple millions of dollars out here if you'll simply take the time to learn, whether it's a stock, whether it's in your practice, or what you want to do surveying these other people. This is how we came up with the Wealth Enthusiast. I said, which one of these topics would you like to have covered? How many people answered the survey? Look at the number of people in here. Thank you for doing that, by the way. I appreciate it. Here was our responses. 62, 39, 67. 79 wants to minimize her taxes. So if 79, you're a financial advisor, okay? So if 79% want to reduce their taxes, do you think we ought to talk about coloring books? Huh? What should we talk about? Minimize taxes. This is why one of the guys that we're going to have will be here tomorrow. Lee is a top-notch attorney. Do you ever heard the expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know? Do you think if you had my Rolodex that you might be able to have some connections somewhere? Yes or no? Yeah. This is what I'm telling you. You want to find these people, put them in your corral that you can pick up the phone and call them at any time. Talk about SEPs, 67 people with SEPs. What about SEPs? Money management. We'll talk about that specifically on how to go through. Specifically tomorrow, we're going to talk about money management. When you see this tomorrow, guys, it's going to blow your mind, okay? So all of these items that we're going to cover in the Wealth Enthusiast class, and I want the kids there. If you have kids, I want them there. All right, which is more difficult from you, making money or keeping money? Most people have trouble making money. I'm going to tell you, this psychologically, people didn't understand the question. If you're over the age of 30 and you don't have $5 million in the bank, you have a problem with that. Do you understand? It's not about how much you make. You're a financial advisor. You can laugh because she knows. She knows exactly. It's not about how much money you make. It's how much you keep. When I was in practice, I had an all-cash practice. I didn't do insurance or workers' comp and stuff. And all the guys I used to hear all the time tell me they're running these $1 million, $2 million practices. But yet I was driving the Porsche and they were driving the Volkswagen. Why? Because I knew how to manage my money. They didn't. They were what we call busy but broke. They were running these huge practices with all this, but they were broke. Any of you guys ever heard of busy but broke people? You ever met somebody like that? Okay. We set our goals regularly. I thought this was kind of interesting, that it was almost 50-50. Some people do set the goals and some don't. All right, when it comes to managing your time, I found this also interesting. 1 being they don't, 10 they do. Only about half the people know how to manage their time correctly. See, it's about, J.P. Morgan said, I would rather, now think this through. J.P. Morgan said, I would rather have 1% effort of 100 people than I would rather have 100% effort of my own. What's the message there? You have to know what your worth is. You have to know how to know what my worth is. You want your net worth to go up. Like my wife told me one time, she said, she came in and gave me a big kiss. And I said, what's that for? She said, you're now worth more alive than you are dead. And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, because you got more money than your life insurance policy. So it's a matter of what is your worth. And we'll show you how to figure out your net worth. When you're making $1,000, $2,000 an hour, like these guys we were talking about in the back, and some of them are making, do you think it's worth them to be mowing a yard at $20 an hour? Huh? No, it's not. So you have to know where your time management comes in. I asked about speakers. I said, would you like a lot of speakers and implement after the event, or would you like to do it hands-on? 86% of people said, no, I want to do it now, here, there. That's the reason why we do these classes like this. When we do this class, we're going to have the people there. We're going to have the CPAs. We're going to have the lawyers there. How do we start from zero and walk this all the way through? Okay? People were asking me, who was asking me about trusts? You were asking me. He was asking me at the break. I said, this is what you're going to find out tomorrow. How do we make multi-generational so that these things pass along? As my neighbor was helping, he was over one day talking about he has no kids. And he was like, well, why do I need a trust? I don't have any kids. I said, you need to put me on there, if you're just going to let it go. No. Okay, so what length of an event do we prefer? All right, we said 1 day was 26, 2 days long, early, all day. So we're going to put 3 days of information into 2 days. Or did you want 3 days from 8 to 5? So what do you think we're going to do? Right? Then we said, okay, where would you rather have it? Here at Tampa? How's everybody like this event in here? Is this a nice hotel? You got a nice place to go? I know if you guys want to go partying tonight, take Chad and Craig and all over here because they know everybody over there. All right? Or would you rather go to take your kids to Disney World and do that? Look at the response difference of what we have. How about the weekend, or you want to do it during Monday through Friday? 97% they said they want a weekend. Have they read Think and Grow Rich? 74%. So the question, what I want to know is why aren't they implementing it? So are you ready to start a journey? This isn't going to be for everybody. I've got people in here that are already multimillionaires, but if you want to take it to the next level, that's where we're going to go. What I'm going to do tomorrow, those that are going to be here for the cash cow, I've got one of the attorneys, you guys are going to be blown away with this guy, on how he sets things up. This is going to be one of the guys that we're going to have at the event. April 27th to 28th, we're going to have it here. It's going to be for 2 days. I highly recommend that you come to it and that you bring your kids to it as well so you get things set up. The price on it is going to be $297. Do you think you can afford that? Okay, I want everybody from 15-year-olds all the way through 80-year-olds. If you don't have this set up, the dates are going to be I believe, 27th and 28th of April. I've got some forms here. I'll give you a form to Peggy. Go back there, sign up with the form if you want to come with it. We're just like my classes here. I limit people to like 50 people. The reason is because these guys that you're going to meet are out of my Rolodex. You think if you want to put together a multi-million-dollar deal that you would have the right, you want these? If you're going to put together a multi-million-dollar deal, do you think you might want to have the right attorney? Huh? Now, some of you may not want to go down this road, and I understand. But I've had a lot of you, the reason I came up with this was because you guys keep asking me, Rick, how did you go from here to here? How did you get from here to here? Now, do you guys think I eat regular doing stocks? I do. I get to manage my own money. But do you realize that I make 2/3 of my money outside of stocks? How do I do that? Because of the other deals and the projects. Let me show you what to do every time that you go on an airplane. I recently made $500,000 by listening to a guy's story on an airplane. Would you like to listen to the guy next to you for 500 grand? Huh? Is that worth listening to? I don't care what psychiatrist you're talking about in the world, you ain't making 500 grand in 2 hours. Is that fair? All right, here's what happened. I'm sitting next to the guy. I've never met a stranger. I said, what do you do? I'm talking to the guy. And the guy is an architect. The guy was up in Philadelphia. He says, I'm trying to put this condo deal together. I said, okay. He's coming back from a business meeting. He's going yada, 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 telling me the whole story about it. I said, really? I said, so he needs $10 million to close this deal, and he's trying to find the money. Well, with real estate running the way real estate is, what's the opportunity, you think, of going to a bank and getting the $10 million he needs? Huh? Zero. So do you think my mastermind group, we could put $10 million together? Yes or no? Absolutely. I picked up the phone and I called a friend of mine, he's a billionaire. And I said, George, here's the deal. He goes, I'm in. That quick. I got 5% of the deal just for making the phone call. Is that fair? Exactly. George got 20% of the deal just for being the money guy. Do you think you could scale that back? Do you think you could do that with maybe $1,000 or $2,000? The answer is absolutely. The opportunities, guys, that afford you that are out here are just freaking phenomenal. Mark my words, there'll be more billionaires made out of this economy in the next 5 years than any time in the history of our country. Do you believe that? I'm telling you, it's going to be true. All you have to do is have the specialized knowledge, have the burning desire, be decisive, and take the action. So this is the class, this is the results of the survey of you guys had sent out, and I appreciate your survey. Yes?
That price is per family, not per person.
Oh, thank you. Yes. The $297 is per family. It's not per person, so your spouse comes, your kids come, et cetera. I want this to be a family affair. Does anybody have any questions on this? Do you understand the journey you're about to take? I'll take you guys. My neighbor, who had no money, took a junk car and sold it on eBay. A junk car that had a tree growing through it. Austin had to go help him cut the tree down so he could get it out. Sold parts on it to eBay for $4,000 because we showed him how to do that. I can take anybody from zero to wherever you want to go. But just like in the day trading room, I don't want you to say, Rick, do it for me. I'm here to teach you. I'm not here to do it for you. But I'm just saying, I know the people in this room. I know the money that's in this room. When you get a mastermind group together of people like this, you're unstoppable when you're on the same page. Does that make sense? Okay. Is there any questions about the Wealth Enthusiast? I thought it was a cool name. What do you think of the name? Yeah? We're kind of enthusiast about wealth, you know? Yeah, go ahead, Gina.
Is it going to be the 8 to 10 time?
I'm sorry?
What's the time period?
I'm not real sure yet. We'll probably survey again and find out. It's going to be 2 strikingly long days because I'm bringing in a ton of people, okay? We're going to talk about home businesses for people that are at home, home moms and things. Okay, what can I do? How can I take the stock business from a home perspective? How do I make a business out of this? How do I grow it from here to here? The number one problem I've had with people calling me is implementation. How do I've got an idea, Rick, how do I implement this? One of our friends just signed a deal. Have you ever heard of the guy Body by Jake? Yes. He just signed a deal for an infomercial on that. It's going to be, they got $2 million up front, and they're getting 20% of the sales just from her idea, and we showed her where to go. Do you think there's an opportunity there? So what I want you to do is those of you that are going to show up that you want to go back and give Peggy your application. We'll keep you informed on emails. I want you to understand where this is. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a matter of taking your time and learning. What we're going to do from there, we have discovered some videos that were lost videos from Think and Grow Rich. The original guy who, back in the 1940s, Napoleon Hill, talking through his book. What do you think if you got one of those every month? Do you think it would help you keep on track? This is an electronic book. Do you remember I told you this? You keep this in your wallet. You keep it in your pocket for that same reason. So we keep you on track is what I'm going to try to do. And it's going to be a journey. We're going to take people from zero to wherever that they want to go. We're going to help you to implement whatever that it is. It's going to be different from different people. Simplistically, in a nutshell, we're going to give you a blueprint. At the class, we're going to go through, you're going to take a manual. We're going to go through the manual step by step, and here's what you've got to do. Okay? Now, is there any questions on that?
What's the age appropriateness for the kids?
As soon as somebody asks you for money. I'm serious. You know, Austin started asking me for money at 13, and I said, here's a book. And he started reading Think and Grow Rich at 13. Austin can just about recite it. For the first couple of years, he's like, Dad, I done read this thing. You know, he reads it every year on his birthday. Why do I have Austin reading it every year on his birthday? Huh? Not repetition. What?
It's new each time.
Exactly. He's looking from a 13-year-old's eyes to a 14-year-old's eyes. Now he's looking at it through a 17-year-old's eyes. Do you think he looks at it differently now than he will when he's 20? I did. Do you think he will? Absolutely. So every year he reads this on his birthday. This is what we're talking about, making the contacts, introducing you to people that will change your financial life. If you want to be millionaires, hang with millionaires. If you don't, don't. It's that simple. Okay? Remember we talked about overbought and oversold? If it's overbought, it's over what? Overbought. You keep it simple. Okay? So this is the answer to the question that you guys have been sending me about, Rick, how do I follow you or how do I get from here to here? It ain't about me, but the principle's the same. Whether you want to get wealthy with the stocks, in the real estate. So I was showing you some of the deals that I've done. It's all the same, guys. It's just a matter of plugging it in to where you want to go. Okay?